The market actually looking for some equilibrium today, folks, after yesterday's drubbing. The signs, the big bounce has run out of steam. No, it has been coming off for some time. In fact, the glaring problem has been the really broadening out the leadership, right? I've talked about it a lot in this show. We need more stocks, more sectors to participate. So maybe financials will finally do that. Maybe they'll live up to the hype. They've been strong all session long, this ahead of the Fed stress test. Those results after the close. The other glaring problem, of course, is just how much of an uptick in coronavirus cases will stall the reopening of the economy. Now, today, both Disneyland and Texas hitting the pause button. Investors have learned to live with pullbacks, corrections, even market crashes. But how do you invest and make money when the overall economy is simply not 100% strength? I want to bring in Keith Fitz-Gerald of the Fitz-Gerald Group and also Walser Wealth Management's president, Rebecca Walser. Rebecca, let me start with you on today's session. The banking sector, by the way, leading the way. I was surprised. I thought they'd be under some pressure.
Yeah, well, I mean, people are knowing that if the economy doesn't come back, and where are they going to actually make money, Charles? They're not going to keep just buying, like you said, just one sector. Technology is all that we've had. So financials are, people are looking long term, home improvement projects, those kinds of things. Obviously, the home stores are doing well. So, I mean, it's sad for me. I'm definitely a proponent of the V, and I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. So I can't wait for this to kind of normalize out and people start to see that these cases aren't the big to do. I keep looking to Larry Kudlow because he's on the same page as I am.
Well, let me pick up on that because last week, President Trump, as you can see, folks, leaving Air Force One. He's in Green Bay, Wisconsin. A very busy day there, and we'll check back in a moment. Folks, this Fed stress test that we're talking about came after the financial crash. They want to make sure that these banks can hold up in the event of adverse economic conditions. And now they've added a twist to it. To Rebecca's point, the V shape, the U shape, W shape. But also, Keith, there's an issue here, and Randall Quarles hit on it last week about the dividends. I think this is what Wall Street's concerned about. He says they take 70% of their capital and allocate it as buybacks or dividends, and some people believe the Fed may stop that.
Well, technically speaking, the Fed doesn't have any power to stop that. What it's going to come down to is CEOs who make a promise to their shareholders. I think this is very much a situation that you and I are tailor-made for. This is invest in optimism and buy the best, ignore the rest. You've got to be very selective in a market like this. You've got to go with quality over quantity. And to Rebecca's point, you've got to keep things very, very focused. They will broaden out, but not yet.
Rebecca, moments ago there was a report during Neil's show, the CDC saying perhaps the number of Americans who've actually contracted the COVID-19 is 10 times higher than the official number. That would mean 20 million people plus. I see that as potentially good news. It would mean obviously that mortality rates are lower and that maybe there's more folks out there with the antibody. I mean, there's a lot of confusion with COVID-19 and all the different things that are happening because of the new rise.
Charles, this is the biggest issue right now. People cannot feel any sense of calm when the drumbeat of, oh my gosh, more people are sick, more people are sick. This is actually what you want to happen. I know it sounds ironic and like, reverse psychology, but you actually want a lot of your population to have an asymptomatic positive immunity through antibody testing so that even if the virus does come back virulently, people are immune to some extent. That's what we want. That actually shows success. That's what vaccines are for. Herd immunity. So yeah, that's actually positive news. And I'm just so upset that it keeps being brought up as negative. Now, if we have death rates that go back up and hospitalizations that go back up, and it's like the beginning again, then I'm absolutely with you. I'll be the first to say, oh my gosh, this is awful. But we shut down once, and let's not forget what it did to our economy. We're trying to come back, and we cannot allow these just people that have their own agendas to keep scaring us from going back. Disneyland, theaters, basketball, when is this going to stop? Look, it doesn't help when you shut things down. We see that. We have examples now. Let's not pretend that we don't have examples. We have examples of countries that shut down and countries that did not. And if you look at their results, the results are basically the same. There was no great impact. So why are we shutting down? Why? Why would we do that again? We can't allow that to happen. We've got to stay focused and be positive.
We see it now also. Yeah, we see it also, of course, even to your point, the unemployment numbers, the best 5, 6, 7 states never even shut down at all. Keith, earlier today you put out a tweet. You said you're going to trim Apple and Microsoft, sold Nikola puts. You mentioned Peloton, and you said you would quote Visa, JP Morgan, and then you question yourself on Alaska Airlines. You know, we're always trying to help our audience here as they navigate the stock market. What the heck does all that mean?
Okay, so every day on Twitter, and thank you for mentioning that, I put together a 5 with Fitz. This is what I'm thinking about for the day. And if you have a plan and you trade that plan, the odds show, studies show that you will be vastly more successful. Many people fly by the seat of their pants. So all I'm doing every single morning is trying to put together my plan and share with people what's in my head. Anybody else finds that helpful. Alaska Airlines, I'm loving it. I fly it. I want to.
Did you fence Visa and JP Morgan? Did you
yes, Visa and JP Morgan. You know,
Visa and JP Morgan.
I want both of these. Yeah, I want both of these. You know, they're great companies. They're digital. Coronavirus improves their earnings over time.
Well, I think it's great. Thank you very much. And Rebecca, I really appreciate the comments you just made. I agree with you 100%. Thank you both. We'll talk to you again real soon. Meanwhile,